Hello everyone, welcome to Bruno's Geek Reviews for this new episode of D&D Variants. So today we're going to take a look at Castles and Crusades. Basically, this is, I would say, if I had to put it, like to explain to someone, this is a mixture of old D&D versions, like 2nd edition, like 1st edition, whatever, and 3.x. However, it's very rules light. It's bare bones D&D in the best way possible. Basically, in this game, you have the attributes or abilities, whatever you want to call them. You know, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, and you have levels, your hit dice, and you know stuff that classes can do. And from there, that's the game. Like you do the saves and the skills from the attributes themselves. And then you have prime attributes which are better than others. Usually characters get 2, humans get 3 because you know they have nothing else going for them otherwise. But it's a really good advantage for humans in this game. I'm not complaining. Yeah, basically that's it. It's very easy to learn. You know, if it's a prime attribute on a d20, you have to get the target number of 18. You know, modifiers aside. And if it's a non-prime, you get 18, and if it's a prime, you have to get 12. So I feel like the more storytelling approach, like less rules heavy approach, where works in the sense that you know the DM is left to make judgment calls more than looking up at the rule book. So that works for a game where you can use miniatures with this for sure, but you can, like, if you don't want to use them, this is perfect. This is more based on storytelling. And also the thing that really works is that if you have, like I said before, you have players from different editions, this is the game to bring them together. You know, because it has the ascending armor class of 3.x, but it has aspects of older editions of the game. And also, what's fun with this game, it's that it's very, you know, if you Google it or you know, do a search, the word that keeps coming up with Castles and Crusades is modular. In the sense that you can really modify this game. And it's not like another RPG where they have rules for every single thing, and if you change one aspect then it messes up with the others, so you really can't, or you have to be very careful. But with this, it's so bare bones, and again, in a good way, that you can add your own rules. Like let's say you want to come up with new combat rules or whatever, and you can add them up very easily and try them. If it doesn't work, you can remove them. You know, this really allows you to, it's a game that if you want to work at it yourself, you can really customize it, or you can use it as is perfectly. Now, one aspect I really like about this game is that in the monster book, and as a side note, you can see the difference in looks. It's because this is an earlier print. The Monsters and Treasure book is an earlier print than the Player's Handbook that I have. So anyway, what I like about the Monsters and Castles and Crusades, what I appreciate, is that they give XP based on hit points. Not only based on the monster, its abilities, and how many hit dice it has, but the more hit points you give it, the more XP it will give you. So that is important because I feel like, you know, if you grab the same monster twice, let's say you roll the hit points or whatever, like it's not going to have the same amount of hit points. So the same monster, depending on how many hit points you have given it, according to the hit dice, can still be like two very different encounters difficulty-wise. So this game finally takes that into account. You know, if you give it more hit points, it's worth more experience points, which is fair to the players. Yeah, it's more dangerous, it might kill them, but if they survive, they get more experience points. That's fair. You know, now one thing I have to point out is that the saves in this game are harsh. Because if an attribute is a non-prime, that means your target number, what you have to get on your dice before modifiers, is 18. And your saves are based on those. It's all the same system. They call it the siege engine. And basically, what happens? You can add your level to your save. So you think right away, well, as you level up, you'll be okay. But when you go up against a monster, if you have to do a save against one of its abilities, the monster's hit dice removes, is a penalty on your roll, if you will. So basically, monsters pretty much cancel out your levels as soon as they have at least the same amount of hit dice you do, and usually you have a little bit more because they're up against the whole party. So that means that saves in this game are really harsh. Players and DMs should be prepared for that. This isn't over-the-top fantasy. I would say this is like in power level for D&D, this is among the lowest power levels. Which, to be clear, like in D&D, as soon as a character has a few levels in him, like the power level is high technically because they have lots of hit points and all that. But I mean, stuff like saves and everything, like this isn't like over the top where characters are expected to go all anime style and jump real high. This is a more down-to-earth fantasy, and characters can really get more powerful, but still within certain limits, if you will. For example, the character whose save is really bad in Constitution will always be that way. Like, it'll never really cancel out, because as soon as they come up with a monster of their, threat range, if you will, that monster with its hit dice basically cancels out the levels of the character. So that's one thing to keep in mind. It's a very good game. It's very modular, and you can bring together players from different editions, but it can be harsh. And now, one good thing about it is that because it's so bare bones in the best way possible, you have hit dice, classes, like class abilities, whatever. The game is really based, for example, like the bonus to hit for monsters is just its amount of hit dice. So if a monster has 4 hit dice, it has +4 to hit. That means you can easily grab monster books or adventures or whatever from other editions of D&D and easily convert them. And in editions where it might be a little bit harder, you can find online like tricks to convert to Castles and Crusades. Like, let's say you want to take 3.x and convert it. It tells you how to roll the skills. It's very easy to convert. The amount of prep time for castle keepers, they call DMs in this game, is really short. That's another thing. If you don't have a lot of time to prepare the games, you don't want to spend a lot of time like preparing like statistics and all that. Like, this game is a breeze to go through like in preparation. Like, it's not like in 3.x where you have to choose like feats, skills, and it takes forever. In this case, you can do it real quick. Now, they recently came out with a Castle Keeper's Guide, and it was about time, because there were some things that should have been in the player's handbook that weren't. Or I guess maybe they shouldn't be in a player's handbook, but in that case, the Castle Keeper's Guide should have come out quicker. For example, like rogues disarm traps, and before this book, there were no official rules for traps in Castles and Crusades, as far as I know. I mean, statistics for them are... I think some adventures might have featured them, but if you didn't buy any adventure or whatever, you were stuck without like how to make traps and stuff like that. So other than that, it's a good book. It gives you the usual information, like if you want to advance the technology level of your campaign, if you want to go to levels beyond the ones shown in the player's handbook. They give you some fun combat, optional rules. It's a good book. It has some good tips, and it's fun to read. So yeah, basically that's Castles and Crusades. Get it if you are okay with your fantasy being more down to earth. If you have players from different backgrounds of D&D and you want to have them together in a single game, not have to explain the difference in rules for a long time, you can explain the rules real quick. If you want a game where the prep time is short and you can create characters very quickly and still customize them pretty fairly, like in the sense that if you want a smart fighter, all you have to do is give him a prime and intelligence, and that's it. You have your smart fighter, and you don't have to go for skills. You can basically make, let's say you wanted to make a fighter detective. Well, I would multi-class and rogue, but give him, let's say you don't even want a multi-class, like just take a fighter and give him prime and intelligence. So there you go. It's very easy to customize in that sense. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's harsher. You don't level up as fast as other editions, but I think it's a very solid game. Short prep time, and kind of a mix of old and new school. So I do recommend it. Thanks for watching.